y'all, it's Miracle and I am back with another review. Today I will be reviewing OWN's original TV series Put a Ring on It. This is my first time watching the show. I did not watch the first season, so I am excited. I got my notes, we got our show, and we gonna get right into it. So we have our first couple, Darian and Aletia. We learned that Aletia is a retired pro basketball player, while Darian is also known as Smoke from the group Philmont. They met at a club when she was in college, and within 20 minutes of knowing each other, they had that chemistry, that kiss. The rest was history. That's all she wrote. We learned that they are 14 years into this thing, and I'm like, 14 years? Damn, and no ring? That's crazy. But they have been on and off again, so we know that they've probably both been involved with other people within that time where they was off. But basically, Aletia is ready for that ring. Now, Darian says she is wifey material, but he's seen other people get married and it ruined things. Like the fun ends and it becomes a whole nother thing, and he just doesn't want that to happen for them. But in the same breath, he goes on to say that he does want to marry her. He just wants it to be on his own time and he doesn't want to be pressured to do so. And from that, I get that Darian is full of shit. Like, 1 + 1 don't equal 2, sir. You gonna have to do some explaining because you just gave two different explanations and we don't know, but we don't believe you. So then we have the next couple, Eric and Jessica. They have been together for 4 years now. We learned that Eric is a former NFL player. He previously played for the Atlanta Falcons. And then we learned that Jessica is a little, insecure because of the fact that he still has teammates that are in these streets, and she thinks that that's where he wants to be. And my response to that is, it is. So let him go, because he's for the streets. And we have our next couple, our last couple, Sean and LaRonda. They have been together 3 years. He slid into her DMs. She liked what she saw. They went on a date. And there you have it. We learned that he's an entertainer. And he did radio at one point. He did stand-up. So he's a little bit of everything. An actor. So he's, what we call a starving artist. And we also learned that his whole time getting married is he wants to be more financially stable before he does so. She says he's making excuses and she won't stay in a relationship for years without marriage. And I applaud her for that because, baby, Alesia is 14 years in. LaRonda's 3 years in, and she said, you better start figuring this out. So after the couple introductions, we have the therapist tell them to write down their rules. So what they are okay with, what they're not okay with, and then they're going to share it with the group. Eric has damn near every identical rule to Jessica's, but somehow had an issue with her rules. And this is simply because Eric wants to have his cake and he doesn't want her to have any. He just wants to have the cake and he wants her to sit there and be hungry. Sit there and want some cake, but she can't get it. So the therapist essentially tells them to go ahead and rip up them rules, because guess what, honey? Ain't no rules. And she said basically the rules are rooted by fear, and that's not the purpose of this whole thing. So y'all gonna put your relationship to the test with no rules on the table. And that is dangerous, honey. That's dangerous, especially when they're gonna be dating other people. No rules. Somebody's gonna cut up. It's gonna be some cut up in here somewhere. So then we learned that they are starting off the dates with the men. And honey, Eric lit up like a damn Christmas tree. He is ecstatic. You cannot wipe the paint off that boy's face the way you could wipe the dye out of his hair. Because we saw it. We saw it, honey. We saw it. But we gonna move on. So next we see Eric and Jessica, and he's getting ready for his date, honey. He's putting on his new cologne. He's putting on all this jewelry, honey. He done answered the door in his wife beater and his do-rag. He's doing a lot. A lot. He is an eager beaver, honey. When she rung that doorbell, he flew to the door like a watchdog. And what I did not like was he said that he actually enjoys seeing Jessica jealous. And he was, to me, intentionally being, all excited to get her worked up. And I don't like that. He says that he likes to see her jealous because it shows that she's still interested and she wants him. That's toxic. So we learn on the date, though, that Eric and Jessica's relationship actually started off with infidelity because he was already involved with multiple women when he got involved with Jessica. And I'm like, oh, okay, so now we're cooking with grease. Now we're understanding Jessica's insecurities, that they are very valid just off of the strength of how y'all started. So then we move on to Darian. And honey, Darian's another one that I'm just side-eyeing and I'm watching because I just don't know about him. Like, it's something telling me that he's gonna be one of the ones to watch. So we gonna watch. But we have Alexia, who is also very standoffish to the girl, as Jessica was. And she does not like Darian's excitement at all because he's another eager beaver. Like, he's ready for this date. And I honestly think that Jessica and Alexia reacted the way they did with the dates because they know they're men. Their insecurities are sparked from somewhere. They're justified. Now, I'm not saying that it makes sense to have this animosity towards this woman when you know what you signed up for and you know what this show is. But at the same time, you would be a fool not to be suspicious of Darian and Eric with the way they've even presented themselves so far. So then we have LaRonda, and LaRonda took a different approach. Now, I don't necessarily think that it was genuine because she hugged the girl that he was going on a date with. And I'm not hugging nobody. I'm going to tell you that now. I'm not even a hugger to begin with, but I'm not hugging the woman that's about to go on a date with my man. But she did that. And I think she was, putting on to come off a little more secure than she actually is. But I don't think that she had it in her to be as catty as the other women. And I think there's a reason for that. But it did feel weird. It definitely felt like a mother sending her son off to a date. Like, she was like, oh, you all enjoy yourselves. Have a good time. That's weird. And I also want to note that when Jessica was letting Eric go on his date, she let it be known, you got a curfew. You need to be back by this time. Like, she was drawing the lines in the sand, honey, letting it be known. Come back in here at a reasonable time, and you better have done some reasonable things on that date. So back to Darian. So he's on his date and he just instantly feels so comfortable. Like, these men get on my nerves, honey. So he's so comfortable with this girl, and she fits the criteria of someone that a celebrity would like. And I'm like, boy, sit your ass down. So this is when I got curious and I wanted to do my homework, because I'm like, who the hell is Phil Mom? I don't know what they have rapped on. And then come to find out, the song So What with Ciara, that was them. Now, I thought that was Ciara's song this whole time, and I thought that was just on the chorus, but turns out it's their song featuring Ciara. So I do know that song, but I don't know no other songs. Like, so y'all had a bop, but you need to chill with this. She's the type of woman a celebrity would want. Sit your ass down. So he brings up how him and Alexia kissed on the first date. And the date's response was reasonable. Like, so what, you want me to kiss you? Like, I'm confused. Who would bring that up if they wasn't trying to get a kiss out of the situation? Like, because you could have left that out of this. What does you and Alexia even have to do with your date with this new woman? So he claims he wouldn't want that. And I'm just side-eyeing him like, boy, you want that. So then we have Sean, and his date was pretty, I mean, I didn't really get a whole lot of notes from it because it was kind of like, okay. But what we did learn was, like, his big difference that he sees with him and LaRonda is the fact that she's like your standard 9-to-5 corporate. She wants everything black and white, to where we know with people who are entertainers, I mean, if you haven't made it, then you're kind of up and down. It won't always be consistent. You know, there's highs and lows. And that is a big difference. Like, if you have a completely different lifestyle from somebody that you're in a relationship with, that can create conflict. So, while it may seem, you know, juvenile compared to some of the other issues, it is actually a big issue. So, Darian comes back talking about the girls with the butts like that and the shape like that smell like that. I really don't know what the hell he was getting at, but I know that he got me and Alexia fucked up because he was just doing too much. And I'm glad she walked off, because that's what I would have did. Like, calm the fuck down. You doing too much. So then he gets mad and he's like, you doing to me what she wouldn't do. Boy, you haven't even known this woman a full 24 hours. Like, I'm over him. I'm over it. And okay. So the last scene, they get back with the therapist and essentially they're talking about the dates. Darian gets to talking about how this date helped him to realize he's been missing the fun that they had in the beginning of their relationship. And Alexia definitely felt slighted. And I would have too. Like, boy, shut the hell up. Y'all did not have that much fun. In one date, in 45 minutes, that was enough for you to break down our whole relationship so we don't have fun no more like we used to. Like, I would. Okay. So next, we have Eric, and he says that the date helped him realize he still got it. And he's basically boasting about how if he wanted the night not to end, it wouldn't have. Like, essentially, if he was a single man on that date, he probably would have ended up having sex with the girl at the end. Jessica is very bothered by this, and she shares that she believes that, you know, that's what he's all about, is sex. And if he wasn't in a relationship, or if they were to break up, she thinks that he would go back to Hohen. She don't think he would get back in like a serious relationship. I'd be looking for something real. And that's when it hit, like, okay. She basically wants that ring and the last name for security because she doesn't feel secure in her relationship. And honestly, I can't say that Eric gives her a lot of reasons to be secure, especially when you going on a date, coming back talking about, yeah, I still got it. Sit your ass down. So the therapist just tells her to basically be mindful. Like, these are her feelings, but they don't have to be facts. But at the same time, I think that her feelings definitely are backed by some facts. So while she can't exactly say that this is what he's doing, or she's not in his mind to know what he's thinking, I think she has some valid points. So we learned that Sean just learned that he can trust himself, and that you can go on a date with somebody and keep it pushing, and that be that. Like, we don't have to go on a date and then I'm trying to talk to you and then I'm trying to do this when I know I'm in a relationship. So LaRonda learned that she's not really the jealous type, but she did feel some type of way, because who wouldn't? And she decided to do a little bit of straightening, let a little warning be known that decisions come with consequences. So you can decide to do whatever you want, little boy. Like, play with it if you want to. And the therapist basically let her be known, like, yeah, that is a kind of threat, and that is basically you trying to still be in control of things. Like, you playing it off like, no, I'm not jealous, I'm not this, it's all cool, but you giving little threats, and you know, you still trying to have control over the situation. And I can agree with that, I guess. But I mean, shit, I would have put it on the table too. Like, do what you want, but be careful. So then lastly, the men have to decide that they want to either go on a second date with that same girl or get a new date. And Eric decides he doesn't want a second date, which makes Jessica so happy. And the therapist points out, you know, when he's doing what you want him to do, your reaction is completely different than if something's just a little bit not what you want. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of all of us. Like, but I see what she was saying. I see her point. Yes, Jessica wants it her way or the highway. And I can see where that's a problem in a relationship. And I can see how If I'm doing everything that you will want me to do, then we all good. Everything's cool. But as soon as I'm not, it's problems. That's a problem. So then we have Sean, and he decides he doesn't want a second date, and I'm like, okay, cool. That's smart. But then he has to give us a stupid ass reason, talking about she's just too perfect. Nigga. And me and LaRonda's both like, what? Because that's the thing with these men. Y'all spent like an hour, maybe two max with these women, and y'all came back with all of these conclusions and all of this thing to say with women that y'all have been with for years. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, knowing on a first date you show up as your best representative. You do not know this woman. You know who she presented herself to be while she was in your face for 2 hours. Yet she was perfect. Okay, let's have her deal with you for 4 years and see if she thinks you're perfect. Like, that just blew me. So then we end the episode with Darian trying to figure out if he wants a second date, and Alexia's letting it be known like she's not here for it if he does. So we're gonna see what he's gonna decide. I don't know. Like I said, he's one I gotta watch. If he was smart, he probably would just play it safe like the other men and not do the second date. But he's Darian. He smoke. So we'll see what he decides. So anyway, I'm excited to watch the rest of the season. I definitely will be reviewing, and I hope y'all will be watching. So make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe.